Hi friends, today we are going to see the past year NEET questions for the chapter Structural Organization in Animals, and today in this video we will cover part 3. So earlier we have completed 2 parts, so kindly have a go through. Now let's begin with the first question, which was asked in the year 2009. Which one of the following is the correct pairing of a body part and the kind of muscle tissue that moves it? So you have 4 options here: biceps, abdominal wall, iris, heart wall, which is involuntary unstriated muscle. So what do you think will be the answer here? Okay, so here the correct answer is option B. The structure of the abdominal wall will be similar in principle to the thoracic wall. So what wall is it? It is called as thoracic wall. There are 3 layers: external, internal and innermost layer. The vessels and the nerves lie between the internal and the innermost layers, and the abdomen can be divided into quadrants or 9 abdominal regions. Therefore, which one of the following is the correct pairing of body part is abdominal wall, which contributes to the smooth muscle. Therefore, the correct answer is option B. Next question here: which of the following is not exclusively supplied with involuntary muscles? Again, this is an easy question for you. What do you mean by voluntary and involuntary muscles? Voluntary means we have to give them pressure. We have to go for the function. If it is involuntary, the action doesn't need any pressure or it doesn't need any external force. It will happen by itself. Okay. Voluntary muscles are under control of our will. So that is how you can term it. Voluntary is we have to give a special force that can be external or internal force, and only then the action will be performed. Okay. Involuntary muscles are not under the control. They are the very normal process, or you can say it's a casual process that happens by itself. You don't need any external force. Okay. Now, muscles of the urethra also remain under voluntary control after infancy. Therefore, the correct answer to this question is option D, muscles of urethra. So, what is the question here? Which is not exclusively supplied with involuntary muscles. It means there is no involuntary muscles. It has to be given a force. So which one? If you see, say blood vessels, ducts of the glands, iris, all these are involuntary muscles. They all have involuntary muscles. The one which has voluntary muscle is the muscles of urethra. The correct answer is option D. So this muscle become a voluntary control after infancy. Why? Because if you see, as kids, we don't have that control. As we grow, we know to control our perspective. Therefore, the correct answer is option D. Next question here: which one of the following contains the largest quantity of extracellular material? So you have 4 options here. Maybe we can discuss one by one. Now let's take the areolar tissue. Of course, it is the least specialized connective tissue. Okay, it is the least here. Connective tissue. It has a large amount of ground substance, that is the extracellular material, and it possesses rich blood and nerve supplies. It spreads extensively throughout the body under the skin and epithelia, in between and around the cells, muscles, nerves and blood vessels, and also in the submucosa of respiratory and gastrointestinal tract. What about the striated muscles, stratified epithelium, or the myelinated nerve fibers? Now, what do you mean by stratified epithelium? That contributes to the skin, right? Where you have a coating, you have inner epithelium, outer epithelium, you have various things like that. Now, when we talk about striated muscle, even that we have discussed in the earlier parts of the same chapter. And myelinated nerve fibers, it is associated with the nerve fibers alone. Therefore, the correct answer to this question is option C, areolar tissue. Okay, so I've given a correct explanation for that. This is the least specialized connective tissue, and it is present in large amount. Therefore, the correct answer to this question is option C, areolar tissue. Now let's move to the next question here. Which cells do not form layer and remain structurally separate? Okay, they do not form layers. So here you have 4 options. Obviously, it is understood muscle and epithelial cells are required for the full system of the body. Therefore, they will form layers. So it is obviously not muscle or the epithelial cells. Gland cells also, if you see, you have different glands in your body, the endocrine gland, the exocrine gland. Once again, it contributes to the whole system. Now, which one does not form a layer but remains structurally separate? If you see, it is the nerve fibers. We all know the nerve fibers are highly sensitive ones that are present in any living organism, which contributes to a lot of other volunteer and involuntary functions. Only the nerve cells do not form layers, they always remain structurally separate from each other. Nerve cells or neurons are the cells specialized to conduct an electrochemical current. So what do? They may cause impulses, or you can call it as electrochemical current. Okay, you can call that as electrochemical current. Nerve tissue is made up of these cells and supporting cells. Now when you talk about epithelial tissue, they are made up of one or few layers which are compactly arranged, and these cells will underlie, or it will be overlying the basement membranes. And you all know gland cells are the epithelial cells specialized to elaborate and release certain chemicals for the use in the various body functions. Muscle tissue is once again elongated, and it helps in other functions of muscles, because the full body acts on muscles. We have various muscles in our body. Even if we need to move something small or big, whatever might be the size, we still need a force, we still need the muscle action. Therefore, the one which separately remains is option C, nerve cells. The correct answer is option C. Next question here. Frog's heart, when taken out of the body, continues to beat for some time. Select the best option from the following. Okay. So here, this is a very interesting thing actually. Even when you take the heart out of the frog, it seems to be beating for some time. And what do you think will be the answer? The correct answer is option C and D. Heart is myogenic in nature, and heart is auto-excitable. What do you mean by that? The vertebrates possess myogenic heart, which is contractile system or auto-excitable. It will keep working outside the body also for some time. So that is what is called as that. So you can ask me a question, what about the human's heart? So far we haven't done anything like that. Someone who is alive, we don't do that. But this is a research that we have done. And heart, as we all know, it is myogenic. In the sense, what do you mean by myogenic? Maybe if I tell you that, you will understand what is the meaning of that. See, myogenic means it is originating in muscle tissue rather from nerve impulses. Now, when we say, so myogenic means it's originating from the muscle tissue, and it is not from the nerve tissue. That is why it is beating also, because not from the nerve tissue. See, once the person dies, even the heart works, because they are not attached with your nerves. Sometimes even when your brain goes dead, your heart will still pump in. So that is the reason why the frog, even after removing the heart, it still works, it still beats. Therefore the correct answer to this question is option C and D. Okay, next question here. Which of the following features is not present in Periplanta americana? So what is the scientific name of what we are talking about? We are talking about a frog. Okay, so you have four options here. The correct answer is option B, indeterminate and radial cleavage during embryonic development. So this is not present in the Periplanta americana, that is a frog. So shows spiral and determinate types of cleavage during embryonic development, which is a feature of the protostomes. Not protozomes, yeah, protostomes. Okay, therefore the correct answer is option B. So what is the other thing? So what is the meaning of cleavage? Divisions. So what happens during cleavage? Will the cell size increase or decrease? It will only decrease, because as you divide things, it will only decrease in size. Therefore the correct answer to this question is option B, interminate and radial cleavage during embryonic development. But it's just the opposite that you see in the Periplanta americana. Okay, next question here. The body cells in cockroach discharge their nitrogenous waste in the hemolymph, mainly in the form of dash. Okay, this is a very easy question for you. When we talk about cockroach, the body cells of the cockroach discharge, of course they are also living organisms, they will also they will also discharge waste, right? That is metabolism going in any living organism. Any living organism will have metabolism, because we all intake food to survive, and that will get metabolized and the remains will come out of the body. For same thing also here for cockroach, but only thing, for men it will be, for mammals it will be mostly urea. For cockroach it is potassium urate. Okay. Yeah, the nitrogen is phased in the hemolymph as a solution of sodium or potassium urate. That is, a weak alkaline fluid will be eliminated from the body of the cockroach. Therefore, the correct answer to this question is option A. Easy question only, because you all know calcium, urea, they are all more attached to the mammals. While the answer should be between ammonia or potassium urate. But apart from that, if you see, the correct answer will be potassium urate or sodium. So these are the two elements which will be eliminated or discharged from the cockroach. Okay, and the waste is from the hemolymph. Okay, next question here. The erga, sterna and pleura of cockroach body are joined by dash. So what is a cockroach basically? Maybe if we go to that concept. So what is a cockroach? What family, or what is a class, or what is the thing that comes here? It's an insect. Yeah, that's a basic thing that comes to our mind when we talk about cockroach. It's an insect of the order Blattidae, which also includes termites. About 30 cockroach species out of the 4,600 are associated with human habitats. That is what we find in our houses. About 4 species are well-known pests, which commonly occurs as house pest. So this is an introduction that I would like to give here. But here, the erga, sterna and pleura of the cockroach body are attached with the help. See, it's obviously not muscular tissue, not a cartilage. Cartilage is a connective tissue, a smooth muscle tissue also. The correct answer is arthroidal membrane. Between the various sclerae, a flexible membrane exists which is known as arthroidal membrane. So that will help the erga, sterna and the pleura of the cockroach body to get together or to get joined. Therefore, the correct answer is option B. Next question here. What external changes are visible after the last molt of a cockroach nymph? So here we're talking about nymph. What do you mean by nymph? Maybe if we talk about that, you will understand. Nymph can be described or nymph can be defined as a mythological spirit of nature imagined as a beautiful maiden inhabiting rivers, woods and other locations. This is a very common meaning of nymph. But when it comes to a nymph of cockroach, so okay, there are many nymph actually, or you can say nymph of insects. In biology, nymph is a immature form. What is it? Immature form of some invertebrates. Immature form of some invertebrates. Okay, particularly insects which undergo gradual metamorphosis before reaching the adult stage. Unlike the typical larva, the nymph will overall be already resembles that of adult, except for the lack of wings. So I have given you what is the explanation for nymph now. Now you can almost get the answer. What external changes are visible after the last mount of the cockroach nymph? The correct answer is both forewings and hindwings will develop. So it's the last stage. Obviously, you know how a cockroach resembles. It will have large wings. Sometimes you find the big cockroaches flying also. See, there are many species which come under cockroach. I'm talking about the one which is a common house pest. So there, if you see the metamorphosis, that is the overall last molting. After last molting, if you see, you'll have the both forewing and the hindwings develop. Okay, the nymph grows by molting about 13 times to reach the adult form. The last nymphal stage has wing pads, while adult cockroaches have wings. Therefore, the correct answer is option B. Next question here. Select the correct option with respect to cockroaches. I think we are continuously seeing about cockroach. Okay, we'll analyze one by one. The forewings are igmina, which are used in flight. No, that is wrong. Malpighian tubules convert the nitrogenous weight in. No, just now we discussed about it, where we did not see Malpighian tubules, but in case it was hemolymph. Therefore, B is also not the right answer. Males bear short anal styles, not present in females. So that is the right one. In cockroach, if you see, males bear a pair of short thread-like anal styles, but that will not be present in a female. So that is how you differentiate between a male and a female. So this is the right answer. Option C is the right answer. A very good differentiation between the male and the female cockroach. Therefore, the correct answer is option C. Easy question, right? Next question here. Compared to those of humans, the erythrocytes in frogs are dash. This is again a very easy question. When you talk about the erythrocytes, or you can simply say RBC, that's what we say, right? In frogs are usually large, oval and biconvex nucleated cells with respiratory red pigment hemoglobin in the cytoplasm. So it is nucleated and also has a hemoglobin. Therefore, the correct answer will be option B. So here to be noted, it is biconvex. It is biconvex in shape. Therefore, the correct answer to this question is option B. Okay. Next question here. Select the correct statement from the ones given below with respect to the Periplanta americana. Okay. Now, when we talk about Periplanta americana, I was explaining that it was a frog. No, it is not actually a frog. I just got confused. It is actually the cockroach that we are talking about. Periplanta americana is the scientific name of the cockroach. Okay, don't get confused, because sometimes you tend to get confused. That happens, but that's okay. But here you have to remember that when it comes to a Periplanta americana, it's a scientific name of a cockroach. Okay, now coming to the answer. This is once again an easy one. I think by now you have guessed the answer. If you look at the options, it's clearly understandable. The males bear a pair of short thread-like anal style. That is true, right? That is what we saw in the earlier question. How will you differentiate between the male and the female? The presence of anal styles in male and the absence of it in the female. Therefore, the correct answer for this question is the same. It is option B. Okay, next question here. One very special feature in the earthworm. Okay, what is that? So this question was asked in the year 2011. See, the intestine of the earthworm has a peculiar fold. What do you call it as? It is having a peculiar fold of tissue that forms a pocket in the intestine that is visible when viewing a cross section. This space, which runs almost the whole length of the body, dorsally is known as typholos or typhosole, and it serves to increase the surface area of the intestine for absorption. So now you know what the answer is. Yes, the correct answer is option B. You have a typhosole, which greatly increases the effective absorption area of the digestive food in the intestine. And that peculiar fold actually increases space for it. Therefore, the correct answer to this question is option B. Next question here. Which of the following is correctly stated as it happens in a common cockroach? This is again an easy question for you. You just have to analyze the options. Malpighian tubules are excretory organs. That is wrong. Oxygen is transported by the hemoglobin in the blood. That is again wrong. Nitrogenous excretory product is urea. That is wrong, because the nitrogenous excretory product of a cockroach is potassium. Right, that's what we saw, right? The food is grounded by the mandibles and gizzard. The correct answer is option D. Cockroach intake food after grounding it by mandibles and gizzard. So they actually don't just ingest, but they actually intake food by grounding it. Okay, therefore the correct answer is option D. Next question here. Consider the following 4 statements. Okay, A to D, related to the frog Rana tigrana, and select the correct option stating which one is true and which one is false. Okay. Now the correct answer, I'll give you the answer so that it will be easy for you to analyze. The correct answer is option A. The first option is true. On dry land, it would die due to lack of oxygen. Its mouth is forcibly kept closed for few days. That is true. B. It has 4-chambered heart. Wrong. On dry land, it turns uricoclotic, or you call it as uricotelic form of urotelic. Therefore, the correct answer is here false. Its life history is carried out in the pond of water. That is also right. Therefore, the correct answer is the first and the last statement are true, while the rest are false. So therefore, the correct answer. So we are talking about frog. It's an amphibian. See, it requires water and it requires land also. It can survive in both. But if imagine there is no water at all, what will happen? Obviously, it will die because it is dependent on both. Okay, so that is why the first option goes as true. It will die because there is no oxygen for it. Therefore, the correct answer is option A. So with this, we complete the structural organization of animals part 3. Hope to meet you in the last part of the same chapter in the next video. Thank you.